What's up, guys? It's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video. And today we have What If Issei Was Betrayed and Became a God, Part 6. Let's try to hit 500 to 600 likes. And if you guys want to know exactly when I upload / my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. And a special thank you to all my balance breakers. Rob the King, Jorge Alvarez, Lachlan Yates, Atomic Warlord 58, Quetzalcoatl Toltec Sun God, once again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, Daybreak, VR Wolf, hashtag 2347, Sainmar Q, Jordan Pachow, and Mazaku. Thank you guys so much for becoming a balance breaker. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for the support. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Chapter 15. Third POV, an unknown location a day after the conference. Darkness, as far as one eye could perceive. Amid the darkness was a heavy stench of blood along with whimpers and groans. Suddenly a small streak of light appears. A lone candle is ignited, revealing a small boy curled up in a corner, his hands drenched in crimson liquid. But soon a chuckle is heard, not from a boy, but something else, causing the boy to sob. "I'm back, kiddo. Tell me, how was your day? How was it to feel your own intestines in your hands?" A deep voice is heard within the darkness, scaring the boy to no end. Devil kids are more restrained to pain. Any human kid would have been dead before he could see his insides, but you can feel your own intestines in your hands. I envy you. With a loud clang, the light turns on, revealing blood and squished organs all over the room, and in the corners of the room, corpses of young women were piled up, with rotten behind identification. But the most insidious thing was a teen with amber hair, most likely in his late teens, but the most remarkable feature was the unnaturally smile on his face. "Tell me, kiddo, how are you feeling?" "Please help me," the kid says. But then from the shadows on the corners, a man, no, a scary humanoid creature wearing a luxurious robe of ancient design. Cutaneous scarlet patterns adorned the pitch-black fabric, comes with traumatizing the kid by those abnormally big eyes, easily reminding him one of nocturnal animals. But the amber-haired teen just grins at the creepy thing. "Rinosuke, I have arrived at last. How is our new victim I have brought you earlier?" "He's just cool. He can feel his own guts and insides in his hand without dying. I'm about to test him by serving his man part and making him look at it. His despair. It's so cool," Rinosuke says. The teen now intruded by Rinosuke's claim with glee, causing the scary thing to chuckle. "His despair is quite fresh indeed, but hey, boy, don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. You can get out. You can go by yourself, right?" "Yes," the kid replied. The thing casually heals the boy and opens the door with a smile on his face, which makes him look more uncomfortable than before. But the boy, with hope in his eyes, exits the room and looks at the hallway with the main door just a couple of steps ahead in happiness. As the boy, with his hopes high, tries to leave the house, multiple tentacle-like things catch him and drags him towards the creepy thing, and the teen, in process to stab him, then this newly healed guts and proceeds to rip out his limbs, earning a loud scream of agony from the boy, which becomes faint as the boy slowly dies. "Oh, that was cool," Rinosuke says. "Some forms of terror are livelier than others. The best is to show them a ray of hope, just to be crushed in an instant, just like what happened to me a long time ago." Suddenly a green-colored magic circle opens up, and a man with his identity concealed by hood appears. "Uru, your next mission is to infiltrate the city in the underworld called Bafaseel. In the territorial devil house, you will be infiltrating that place as a common devil citizen and gather any available intel. Keep a low profile and do not commit mass murders. Maybe a couple of killing. Do not, by any chance, try to enter the Beale private grounds. This mission was directly appointed by Beelzebub himself. Plus, if you wish, you can have Jiv Bluebeard accompany you, but by any chance, Bluebeard mustn't leave your house. We'll assign you." "I'll do it for the brigade," Rinosuke says. "I will help you." "Good. Be good to use, since we were the ones to have saved your life by reincarnating you as the devil. Now, POV, we're with Issei." "Princess, hurry up. We don't have all day," Issei says. "I'll be ready in a sec," Mordred replies. With a huge sigh, Issei crashed onto his couch while checking his watch. The reason for him being like this is because today they were visiting London for a day, on all official purposes. "I've been meaning to ask you something for a long time," Drake says. "Tell me, Issei replies. What goal do you have? I mean, everyone has a dream, which it makes them to push forward. Drake says, I want to make Rias' life miserable and spend my eternal life with my love. Issei says, after that, what will you do, partner? Drake says. Hearing Drake's question, Issei struggles to give him an answer, but after a couple of minutes, Issei answers the question. I always had a dream of being a hero when I was a child, but I honestly don't know what to do, Issei says. A little boredom can be a dangerous thing, Drake says. I know. I have always felt an urge to destroy things since the day I became a dragon, Issei says. In my honest opinion, I don't think you can be a good person nor a villainous one. Sure, you can kill people, but I think that you should be an embodiment of balance, just because without balance, everything will fall apart, Drake says. After a minute of hesitation, Issei replies to Drake. I don't know. Sometimes I kill people and sometimes I help them, honestly, Drake. I don't know what I've become, Issei replies. Issei, as I said, you are neither the light that protects nor the darkness that consumes. You're both of them. Sometimes you're the brightest light and sometimes you're the darkest nightmare, Drake says. You're right. But I think of myself as an abomination that shouldn't exist. I'm a cruel person. I enjoy tormenting people, Issei says. Silly boy, you are nothing but a broken soul, tainted by the deaths you took part in, anger you hold within. Tell me, the moment you became the vessel for the thing I saw, the restricted sections of your soul, I'm sure you remember those horrific things your consciousness once erased. The moment Drake said those words, Issei's hand trembled violently while a few tears escaped from his eyes. I saw them, everything they did to you. The Hyodos, they weren't your parents. They were a Magus family with a hefty bounty placed on them for illegal activities. Your memo, Drake cuts off, my memories were altered. I wasn't a cheerful child. I was an orphan who was adopted by them, but then I found out that they adopted me only to experiment me on since I had a good quality of magic circuits in you. They tortured me. For months, then I lost my sanity and tried to kill them only to fail. In fear, they altered my memory with fake ones and intended to erase my knowledge on the supernatural, as they feared that I might become a threat. That's why I killed them. The pain and sufferings on my life changed my physique. As a dragon, your instincts make you more emotional. I fear that you might become an evil dragon, Drake says. I won't. I was close to becoming one, but she saved me. For her sake, I'll live. I'll kill anyone who tries to take her away from me, Issei says. Your past may be a tragic one, but your present is a life filled with happiness. You have your mate to help you, and I'll wholeheartedly support you till the end of mine, Drake says. I decided I'll have my vengeance, and after I'll become the justice itself. I'll punish the wicked, Issei says. With determination and demeanor, Issei looks at the new contract-boosted gear as passion and determination replaces the unmotivated look on his eyes. I'm ready, Mordred says. A red blur suddenly crashes onto Issei, making him fall on the couch, and the red blur is revealed to be a super gritty Mordred wearing her usual outfit with a pair of glasses, earning an atomic blush and a nosebleed from Issei. So, am I cute? Master, Mordred says. Mordred giggles mischievously at the stuttering Issei, who lays eyes on the floor, unable to form any runes. Whew, cuteness overload, Issei says. Unable to take the pressure any longer, Issei feigns causing Mordred to pinch him in his cheeks, making him to gain his consciousness back. Oi, don't die on me, Mordred says. I hate you, Issei replies. Nah, you love me. Only I can be the meanie here. As you wish, my king. With a sly smirk, Mordred suddenly gives her boyfriend a sweet kiss, which lasts a couple of seconds, then she pulls away with a grin. I should have known that she'll become more bolder than before once I made her as my queen, Issei says. Flashback, a day after the peace conference. Currently at Issei's apartment, everything was good as it was. The weekend in the Co-Academy was being rebuilt. It seems the Crimson Clown and the Weirdo reported to the Co-Academy's annihilation as the gasoline explosion, Mordred said. Inside the kitchen, Issei is seen cooked some food while Mordred helps him unmundane things. A shame. I must have held back my last attack, Issei says. That wasn't your fault. It was the silver-haired bastards, Mordred said. Yeah, he destroyed my entire plan by revealing my old identity, Issei says. Issei stops at chopping the vegetables and looking at the cutting board with anger, causing Mordred to hug him from behind. You yourself said that you wouldn't kill her, but make her suffer 1,000 times, Issei said. I originally thought of killing all of her Parage members, but now I can't kill them if they're dead. Zex will get suspicious of me. Also, I can't abruptly stop killing them. It will just increase their suspicion. The best things I could do is kill on a rogue exorcist and make it look like he's the killer and I killed him as he tried to kill me. I'd like to join your barrage, Mordred said. Issei abruptly stops at Mordred, out of nowhere asks him to make her his servant. I beg your pardon? I'd like to join your barrage, Mordred said. Are you sure? Issei said, I am. Mordred looks at Issei in his eyes with a burning passion and determination, causing Issei to look at her in astonishment. The perks of being part dragon are enhanced reflexes, enhanced mana reserves, magical resistance, enhanced physical strength. With the downside that you'll be vulnerable towards dragon slaying weapons. You'll become emotionally sensitive, Issei says. Not bad, Mordred says. Overall, it will be a good boost to your potential, as you will be able to use Clarent, Blood Arthur in succession without getting exhausted due to your enhanced mana reserves. I want to be your knight or queen, Mordred says. Issei drops his kitchen knife and summons a case and takes out the queen pieces. Are you ready? I am. On the name of Issei Kodamine, I order you, Mordred Pendragon, to be reborn as my queen and my beloved. You shall become my sword and shield. A bright green light then engulfs the whole room after a few seconds, the light out revealing a perfectly fine Mordred with mana circulating around her. I feel incredible, but I can hear various noises. It's nothing to worry about. It's a side effect of becoming half dragon. You'll get used to it, Issei says. As I am your queen, I shall call you master, Mordred says. With a deadpan look, Issei stares at the newly reincarnated half-dragon, who has a sly smile plastered on her face. How in the world did she find out my kinks? Issei says. Present day, we're back to the present day now. Issei looks at the ceiling with a blank stare, reminiscing in his past memories, revolve around Mordred's reincarnation. Hello, Earth to Issei, Mordred says. What? Oh, you were staring at the ceiling for a whole minute. We have to be at London, remember? Oh yeah, I do. A bluish portal opens up, a couple enters the portal holding hands. In the underworld, in the outskirts of City Luafalt, served for devils were in a magister room which serves as the council room since the Civil War room. Devils from various royal clans were present, and a few elder devils, along with the 4 great Satans and the great King Zek and Biel, were seated on the upper deck overlooking the trial. Welcome, distinguished royal families of each clan. Let the trial begin, Sir Zek says. Rias Grimmery, heiress of the Ested Grimmery clan, has been charged with the breaking of the Reincarnation Act, violation of territory protocols, endangering the devil community, improper rule of her territory, high treason. May Rias Grimmery be present. As soon as the older devil, aka Zirkrum Biel, the oldest devil alive, announces the news, 2 guards bring Rias chained towards the trial. Rias Grimmery, you have been charged with the breaking of the Reincarnation Act, violation of territory protocols, endangering the devil community, improper rule over your territory, high treason. Do you have anything to say? Sir Zek says. I knew that a bunch of fallen angels have infiltrated into my half of Ko, but I didn't do anything as I was banking on Issei to be killed so that I could reincarnate him, Issei says. In a crestfallen tone, Rias tells them the truth with her head hung low, causing a few murmurs. I'd like to clarify that the person Rias forcefully reincarnated was the Red Dragon Emperor Issei, and recently he was declared to be dead. But we have found that he is alive, and he managed to expel the pieces and become a full-fledged dragon after he found out the truth. Who is the second in command of the dragon faction? Rias Grimmery has managed to not only risk a great war, but also risk a war with the dragons. But Lord Issei didn't let his personal grudge against Rias to affect the devils as a whole, and it's all thanks to him that we have achieved peace, Sir Zek says. The moment Sir Zek ends his long speech, the whole council enters a state of panic, and causing various clan herds, elder devils to scream at her. She dared to cause the extinction of the devil? She must be executed, Lord Gideon said. Guilty! She must be executed amid the common devils, Lord Gideon says. A disgrace to the devils must be eliminated, Lord Biel says. A huge uproar breaks out as many devils demand for Rias to be killed, but then Zekim intervenes. As the great king, I personally consider that Rias Grimmery, although guilty, is an immature devil. She wasn't well aware of the consequences of her doings, so I suggest that we reduce her punishment, Zekim says. I agree. It isn't right for an immature devil heiress to be executed, Lord Sichi replies. Execution isn't the right thing to do in this case, but one can't leave this unpunished. We, the Phoenix clan, will be neutral for this trial, Lord Phoenix says. A vote shall be taken to decide the punishment of Rias Grimmery, Ajuka says. Time skip. Scene break, time skip. The votes of every pillar and the mouths have been received, and the results are 13 clans have voted for execution, 4 clans have pledged neutrality, and 15 clans have voted for minor punishment. Us mouths have voted for minor punishments. Rias Grimory will not be executed, Serzek said. As the Great Kings proposed that Rias Grimory should be stripped of her position as a Harris and should be stripped of her peerage, Zircum says. I agree, Lord Grimory says. I disagree. Rias Grimory is considered as an upcoming devil prodigy by common masses in the clan, so I refuse to strip her of her peerage. She will be valued asset to the devil society as a whole, Serzek says. After a long minute of silence, Zekyombil with a huge frown answers back. I can't deny, but what if the dragons come back with an army demanding her head, Zircum says. He would do no such thing. It was all thanks to him that we managed to secure the treaty, Serzek says. The dragons are in dire need of portions of the underworld, as the dragon apple is only found in the underworld. That was the primary objective of the dragons. So what if he betrays the treaty after acquiring the lands and comes back for her head, Zircum says. A few murmurs raised at Zircum's point, but causing Serzek's face to twirl into that of a frown. If that happens, Rias Grimory will be handed over to the Red Dragon Emperor, but she won't be executed by us, Serzek says. I acknowledge that the fact that Rias Grimory is considered a prodigy and she won't be stripped of her peerage, but what about her position as the Harris? Zircum says. Lord Zirkram, you should consider the fact that we have no heirs to the clan. If Rias is stripped to the position of the Harris of the Grimory clan, will most likely become extinct, Lord Grimory says. Don't fool us, Lord Grimory. I am well aware that there is another heir to the clan. Milicus Grimory, firstborn son of Serzex Lucifer and Graphia Lufridge. He inherits the power of destruction of the Beals, and the power of the Only Chains of Twilight, the long-lost signature ability of the Grimories, which allows the user to conjure and manipulate chains made of demonic energy which earn the respect of the former Lucifer as he asked to acknowledge the ability, and that is why the Grimories were given the rank of Duke. Lord Agrius says. As Lord Agrius reveals the information, the whole meeting disrupts into chaos, causing Serzek to sigh. Dear Satan, power of destruction and the unholy chains of Twilight. The last no Grimory to wield this ability was the first Grimory and his son, Lord Phoenix says. The Grimories have such a terrifying child, Lord Bio replies. But he's just a 6-year-old child, Lord Grimory says. Ah, yes, a 6-year-old child with the power level of a low-tier high class, and he hasn't even trained his powers. And not to mention that Rias Grimory, the prodigy, who is 19 years old, has trained since the age of 9, is also a low-tier high class in power, Lord Gardas said. With a mocking laugh, Lord Gardas looked at the Grimory, causing him to sigh. Fine, I agree to strip my daughter from the title of her Harris, and form now on Milicus Grimory will be made the heir. That's all. Council is now adjourned, Serzek says. Now back with Issei. Britain has changed a lot. From the top of a huge skyscraper, the couple stare at the city, London, with their hands over intervene. So, where do you want to go? Shopping, Mordred says. No, Issei says. Issei frantically waves his hands and looks at the now smiling Mordred with horror etched into his eyes. First, we'll go Hyde Park, and then we'll spend our time in the National Portrait Gallery in the National Museum. I want to see how many humans have decapitated my glorious life after we'll pay a visit to the Millennium Wheel, Mordred says. Sure, let's get going, Issei replied. Time skip. Mordred looks at something with no emotions visible on her eyes, and next to her, Issei lets out a chuckle. Why, this is absurd. My mother is portrayed as a gruff-looking man, an incompetent piece of steel. Mordred looks at the portrait of a gruff man on a horse with a sword. Gritting her teeth in frustration, the pentadragon averts her gaze of the portrait, while a huge bloodlust covers the gallery, causing several people near them to sweat profusely. And many move away from them, seeing that Issei slight nudges her. Humans try to misinterpret many things. You have to tone down your bloodlust, Issei says. After hearing her boyfriend's word, Mordred halts her bloodlust, causing the people to unconsciously sigh. Time skip. Scene break. With the flick of his hands, a portal opens up and couples go through and come out only to be met with a busy street brimming with life and excitement. A huge Ferris wheel next to the river. This is awesome, Mordred said. So this is Millennium Wheel, not bad, Issei replies. Come on, let's check it out, Mordred replies, with a mysterious glint in her eyes. Mordred drags Issei towards the Millennium Wheel. Time skip, scene break. As the sun slowed, start to high above on the Millennium Wheel, the couple enjoy the view while standing on an iron rod which supports the wheel. Quite an unorthodox way of watching the sun tents from a Ferris wheel. It's beautiful, Mordred says. Maybe, but it's dwarfish in comparison to my beloved queen, Issei says, with a toothy grin on his face, teases his queen, causing her face to turn 50 shades of red, earning a small chuckle from Issei. Issei, I had lots of fun today. Thank you for spending time with me, Mordred said. With an innocent smile, Mordred in a swift manner plants her lips onto his, catching him off guard. Ah, yes. Young love. It's like I'm looking at an old mirror of myself. Those were the good old days. Although I'm surprised they didn't give in to their urges. He likes to take it slow, just like me, Drake says to himself. Time skip, the next day. At the earlier hour of the day, the birds were happily chirping and the trees waved at the cold breeze. Amidst the forest was the couple. Both Issei and Mordred looked at each other and they nodded. They changed into their battle attire in the flash of light using magic. Head northeast and scout the land nearby for any bounded field. If you spot any, do not infiltrate. Just inform me in the place and I'll check it out. Be safe, Issei says. In a swift motion, Issei suddenly disappears, causing her to sigh. Well, time to fight the old Sainted faction's rumored base. Mordred then changes into her typical battle armor and charges towards the forest. Now, with Issei, where are they? According to my intel, a secret bunker must be around here, Issei says. Issei scouts the place by jumping from tree to tree at high speeds, but then he feels a source of mana around him, causing him to stay on the ground. A typical bounded field with about 3 layers. Not bad, but I could still breach it, Issei says. Issei then places his index finger near the field, and a green light radiates from his hand, which cuts a pathway through a bounded field. In an instant, Issei passes through the bounded field, only to find a huge castle with numerous devil and mage-like guards. Halt! State your identity, Devil 1 says. Don't you know me? Issei replies. We don't. Now state your identity, Devil 2 says. Issei Kodamine, your non-friendly slayer, Issei says. With a maniacal smile, Issei grabs the 2 devils and smashes them into the floor, killing them. Ah, Mage 1 says. A soul mage tries to alert the other guards, but suddenly someone comes and grabs him by the collar and lifts him to the air by his throat. Ouch. Could you please tell them that I'm sorry, Issei says. Issei's maniacal grin widens at the mage's terrified expression, then proceeds to kill him. You're awfully violent, Drake says. 2 mages made my life a living hell when I was young. So what did you expect from me? Issei replied. Remember, control that frenzied side of yours, Drake said. Can't help it. Whenever I see these fucking mages and devils try to kill it, it reminds me of my past, Issei says. Suddenly, Issei disappears out of thin air, and Reaper's next to the devil guard with his presence concealed. Hey guys, open up, the devil guard says. The devil knocks on the door, causing a mage to open the door with a frown. What do you want? Mage 3 says. In a swift manner, the devil's head falls down to the floor, earning a small yelp from the mage, but then the mage looks at his chest only to find a hole. Ta-ta, Issei says. The mage's body falls onto the floor with a thud, causing the other devil and human mages to notice him. Kill that fucker, Mage 4 says. Boost, Drake says. Trace on, Issei replies. Mana accumulates around Issei and then condenses into multiple kitchen knives, which rust out towards the guards to kill most of them. Pathetic. Pathetic, pathetic, Issei says. A sole mid-class devil crouches on the floor, barely conscious, with a knife only on his eye. Where's your boss? Issei says. The basement, the devil replies. Thank you for your cooperation. 2 kitchen knives from around Issei's hand, then proceeds to cut the devils into pieces with his knife while having an innocent smile. Just a couple of mana-infused knives and nearly everyone on this floor is dead. Pathetic, Issei says to himself. Issei then scratches for anything suspicious, only to end up finding a poorly hidden elevator into which Issei enters and presses the basement button. After a secondary elevator door opens up, revealing a futuristic lab with a huge central computer next to it. 3 tanks filled with a mysterious liquid inside, which a girl, a small baby, seemingly in type of stasis, were present, focusing Issei to lose his cool demeanor. Human experiments? Issei said. Partner. I can feel a strong amount of aura with faint traces of holy aura, Drake says. Issei looks at the main computer, which displays words in devil language. Project Homunculus, artificial spiritual vision of spirits on homunculi. Experiment success, Issei reads. The bastards were trying to fuse a powerful soul into a homunculus. It will kill them, Drake says. Activates experiment 43, Issei says. Suddenly the capsule which contains the girl opens up and the girl opens her eyes, which is accompanied by smoke. Well, I am a homunculus. You understand, I am created by an old Satan faction. Aurora's voice echoes through the surroundings as the smoke dies down, revealing a young woman with short hair, lavender eyes, and fair skin. Who are you? the girl says. Ah, well, I'm Issei Kodamine, the Red Dragon Emperor. Nice to meet you. The girl suddenly looks at Issei with curiosity, causing him to sweat drop. Boosted gear? Longinus? Yes, you are correct, but can I ask you something? Issei says. Sure. How do you know about this? Issei says. I was implanted with knowledge about the supernatural, the girl replies. Oh, okay. So what do you want to do now? Issei says. The girl looks at Issei with a blank look, causing Issei to get concerned. I want to live. You're a homunculus, right? Issei says. Yes, the girl replies. Do you know what that? You'll die in a couple of years, Issei says. But I want to live, the girl replies. Issei just sits there in silence. Unable to form any words, Issei looks at her with sympathy and pity. I want to follow you. What? Issei says. I want to follow you, the homunculus girl says. My instincts say that I can trust you. Shell-shocked at her naivety, Issei looked at now the summons boosted gear with confusion. You could just make her into one of your Parage members. That way she'll be able to live for thousands of years. Also, this girl has the presence of a hero, which could be useful, Drake says. Hey, if you desperately want to live, I can reincarnate you as a dragon, so that you'll live a long life, like dragons do. The girl looks at Issei dead in his eyes and answers in a monotone voice. Only devils and angels can reincarnate, the girl says. Oh, but I can make you a dragon using my custom-made evil pieces, Issei says. I agree. Are you sure? I am. With a sigh, Issei summons a pawn piece and tries to reincarnate her, but nothing happens. Confused by Issei summons for 4 pawn pieces, which suddenly glow a dark violet, which soon dims down, revealing the girl whose body radiated demonic honor. I feel better, the girl says. Now, do you have a name? Subject 43. That won't do. How about any name you like? With a sweat drop, Issei sighs. Mash. Oh, you like the name Mash, Issei says. Yes, the girl replies. Suddenly the elevator dings and it was a pissed of Mordred comes out. Why do I sense this shield bastard nearby? Mordred says. Ugh, Issei replies. And that is the end of chapter 15. Chapter 16. Issei's POV. Where am I? Issei says. I desperately look around, but as far as my eyes could perceive, only an infinite void was around me. This isn't funny. Who's there? Issei says. Nothing. I got nothing in return to my question, but I can sense a presence, a faint one, but then suddenly the void dissipates and a lake appears out of nowhere. Ah, you're here. What the? I turned around and saw nothing abnormal. The voice, it sounded cold, inhumane. Where the hell are you? Issei says. Issei Kodamine. It's good to meet you, the mysterious person says. Where am I? Issei replies. As much as I want to get out of here, there's something particular about this place. I want answers. If you weren't this troublesome, I'd have brought you here without any resistance. That's called kidnapping, Issei says. You are right. So, why did you bring me here? If you wish to kill me, I am more than capable of disintegrating you. That's it. His ass 6 feet under the ground, I then called out for Drake, but he didn't answer me. It isn't like him to avoid me in crucial times. I'm sorry, but Drake won't be hearing you anytime soon. What the hell? It is nearly impossible for someone to cut off the link of a sacred gear. I didn't sever the link. You're inside your soul plane. This place can't be evaded by outside sources. Okay, so what do you want? Do you want this universe to be destroyed? What kind of question is that? This voice isn't normal. Of course not. Issei says. A storm is approaching. Mysterious voice says. Then everything starts to cut off. The second I said that, the landscape morphs into the void, and I felt something that made my bones chill. I could feel every cell in my body screaming the word danger. I tried to move, but I couldn't. My body was frozen, unable to move. Is this fear? But then in the midst of the void I saw something. Blood-red streaks resembles an eye of a savage beast. I couldn't feel my already tense body screaming to get away. It wasn't something to be taken lightly. That thing, I could feel, something chaotic. It screamed of madness. It's like I'm staring at something diabolical. But then the void disappears and the lake reappears, making me sigh in relief. Is that you? No. I could help, but all I could, and then the text cut off. The voice distorted into a monstrous speech. This doesn't make any sense. Third POV. With sweat dripping down his face, Issei wakes up from his bed. He turns around and he be met with Mordred sleeping peacefully. What was that? Issei says. What's the matter? Is something wrong? Drake says. Just a dream, Issei says. Oh, okay. It's just 1 past midnight, so just go to sleep, Drake says. Time skip, Issei put POV. A sweet aroma lingers around the house as my love Mordred, Mash, and surprisingly Sona have their breakfast together. It's been 1 week since I made by Mash my pawn. Mordred managed to reveal the identity of the spirit which got fused with Mash, and surprisingly it was the spirit of an authoritarian tradition, Gald, whom Mordred addresses as the shield bastard. Also, a couple days ago, Sona requested to temporarily live with us since her mansion was under renovation, and surprisingly, Mordred agreed. Mash, have you succeeded on controlling your new demonic aspects? Issei says. Controlling my reflexes have gotten a lot better, but I'm not able to use draconic magic, but I'm able to use human magic craft thanks to my homunculus part, Mash says. If you need any help, feel free to ask for my help, Mordred says. I thank you, Mash replies. I can feel it. Mash is around high tier, high class, and power, but she has her potential to get peak of ultimate class or maybe low Satan class. She can manifest Galad's shield, but still she's far from reaching her true potential. So, Sona, can I create an own club for my Parage? Issei says, it will be done. But do you tell me your club's name, Sona said. I'm tempted to create a video game club. Screw it. I'm going to create an archery club. An archery club? Issei says. Perhaps, are you interested in archery? Sona says, I am. Issei replies, it's unnatural for a dragon to practice archery. Sona says, I'm an exception, I guess. Why did I stammer in front of her? A dragon mustn't stutter in front of a weaker being. Lord Kodamine, since you're the governor of a part of Ko, which belonged to Rias, I think we should cooperate with each other on catching the killer, who may be a rogue exorcist, Sona says. No need for the formalities, just call me by my name, Issei says. Ah, shit. Everything was going fine until now. I could feel the catalyzing gaze of Sona. I can't afford to be outsmarting. Sure. What plan do you have in mind, Issei says. My Parage is constantly on the patrol within Ko, and my familiars are constantly supervise the city for abnormal activity. So far, we haven't had any luck. I propose that we both work together to secure the city, Sona says. She suspects me. Just as I suspected Sona isn't someone to be fooled easily, my answer to this will be deciding factor for this mess. I could see Mordred's slightly nervous smile. Sure, we can help each other, I guess. That's great. Also, I'd like to have another game of chess with both of you, if you could spare some time, Sona says. Sona looks slightly nervous while Mordred winks at her. Is there something I'm missing? I'd love to, Issei says. I have to train, so bye, Mash said. Mash must have been uncomfortable with this many people. She's just a child. Sure, she may be 16 years old physically, but mentally she isn't even matured. But that part of homunculus, her progress on her demonic part is extremely fast. Third, POV. Mash leaves to the underground training facility, while the rest of the time goes awkward for Sona, who continues to eat in silence. I still can't believe that I told her about the engagement straight up to her, and she said she has no problems, Sona says in her head. Flashback 2 days ago. At the cafeteria of Code Academy, it was a normal day. Students were having their meal. Mordred was no exception. The Knights of Treachery was not in a good state of mind. She was annoyed as her love was unable to be with her. Issei owes me a good spar, Mordred says. The Knight of Treachery grumbled under her breath. It was an unnatural sight for her to be irritated by her boyfriend's actions, as she was distracted by her thoughts. A certain student council president made her way towards her. You're here. That saves my time for searching for you. Lady Pentadragon, could you please save some time for me paying a visit to the student council room? Sona said. I sure can, but do tell me the reason behind this. Request, Sona. I would like to have a private conversation, Sona says. With her eyes slightly raised, Mordred analysis of any hint of deceit behind the teacher's eyes, but then lets out a sigh. Just make it quick. I am not in a good state of mind, Mordred says. Sure, Sona replied. At the student council office. Scene break. Inside a well-organized room filled with various materials, Mordred and Sona look at each other while being seated on their respective chairs. Is it related to Issei unable to spend his time today with me at the cafeteria? Mordred said. No, but if you wish to know more regarding that, I can help you, Sona says. Tell me, Mordred says. With absolute seriousness in her tone, Mordred demands the answers from Sona. Issei wanted a piece of Ko under Rias' jurisdiction, and an official order from Lord Lucifer has arrived stating that Rias should be relieved of her duties and the land to be transferred to Issei. Also, it seems the issue regarding Issei's reincarnation has caused an uproar among the council. The council wanted to execute Rias, but later they have decided to strip her of her status as the Heiress. Sona says, "She deserves it. That sick manipulating bitch manipulating my Issei to her selfish desires. This doesn't make me feel any better," Mordred says. With a small snarl, Mordred curses Rias, causing Citri Harris to nervously laugh. "I can't deny that," Sona says. "So what do you want to talk about, Sona?" With a snarky smile, the Knight of Treachery slightly teases her victim with a appearance to smile irritations to be placed by bliss, causing Sona to look at her nervously. "I'll be honest with you. I'm engaged to Issei," Sona says. "What?" Mordred replies. Mordred looks at Sona with a twisted anger and jealousy. The infiltrated knight looks at Sona while subconsciously admitting huge amounts of bloodlust, scaring the Citri Harris beyond belief. "Hold on, let me explain," Sona says. Sona looked at Mordred with pleading for her to hear you out. "Explain," Mordred said. "When I was about 13, my parents made a marriage contract with the Almond clan. I was forced to marry the second son of Almond clan, who is a great pervert. So I challenged him to a game of chess, and he lost. Using this, I demanded that I wouldn't marry a devil who couldn't match my intelligence. Since then, my clan made a deal with me that the first male to win a game of chess against me will become my fiancé. I was challenged by many devils, but none managed to win. But then you and Issei won against me for the first time. I explained to your parents about this. I am sure they will cancel your mistake," Mordred says. With her voice as cold as the ice, Mordred harshly answers her, causing Sona to flinch. But then, "Why can't you understand? I love him. The first moment I saw him, it was a crush, but then after all of this, I love him. I love him. I love him. I swear I love him. I want him. Why can't we just share him?" Sona says. With a twisted smile on her face, the Citri Harris stares directly at the knight's eye. But then her twisted smile changes into a frown, as her facial features become distorted, holding her unhealthy desires. "Do you love him?" Mordred says. "Yes," Sona replies. "What will you do if someone tries to take him away from us?" Mordred says. "I'll kill them," Sona replies. "What will you do if he doesn't accept you?" Sona just sits there in silence. Sona visibly tenses and stays quiet, with her hair shadowing her face, earning a small smirk from Mordred as she knew that she struck a nerve. "Answer me. Tell me, are you scared? If you're scared, you don't deserve him," Mordred says. "I will kill," Sona says. With an expression that contradicts her original personality, Sona yells and she breaks the table nearby in two and looks at Mordred with an expression of person nearing the verge of insanity. "Who will you kill?" "Everyone and everything. Will you kill your sister if she tries to interfere? I will tear her limbs apart. Till she pleads to kill her, I will obliterate her wretched existence off this planet," Sona says. In a fit of rage, Sona lets out her aura, causing the ceiling to crack and the furniture to break in two. Such an intensified bloodlust, even the Lucifer's descendant didn't have much Melissa's aura. She's dead serious about the fact that she will kill anyone to be with my Issei. Her eyes then glowed eerie, red, causing Mordred to take a step back and clearly compose herself. "That's a nice answer," Mordred said. What?" Sona replied. "I'm not scared by your little trick. I won't stop you from pursuing him," Mordred says. "Why?" Sona said. "It can't be helped. Dragons are known for having multiple mates. If Issei falls in love with both of us, we can share him. But if he doesn't like you that way, I have no choice but to kill you if you lose your sanity." After a long moment of silence, a small smile makes its way towards Sona. "Much appreciated, Mordred." "Damn, I think Issei's yandere tendencies did change me into one," Mordred says. Flashback ends. The sounds of metal clashing with other resonating throughout the room as Mash with shield blocks attack from Issei's sword. A fireball makes its way towards Mash, but using her shield she blocks the attack. Issei sneaks behind her and throws a haymaker, which the newly reincarnated homunculus retaliates by kicking him in his abdomen. "Your reflexes are still good. Still, it's not enough. Your physical capacity is too low according to a dragon standards. You're just as strong as a high-tier class being, but in your dragon standards, you're just as strong as a low-class dragon," Issei says. "I have to increase my physical capacity. How can I do that?" Mash says. With a confusing evidence on her face, Mash looks at the floor, causing Issei to sigh in her innocence. "I forgot. She's just a child." "Come on, teach me," Mash says. "Let's call it a day," Issei replies. "But Mash says. Issei looks at Mash stuttering, causing him to get amused at her desire to grow stronger. You've made great progress on your training and in abilities, but I think you should learn about the society, Issei says. What's that? Mash says. Issei suddenly stops dead in his tracks and looks at her in disbelief. What are the things that the old Satan bastards taught you while you were in the weird capsule? Basics of the Devil Society, list of main targets to kill. It's time I teach you about the human society, Issei says. The elevator nearby opens up, revealing Mordred, who has a furious look on her face. That damn bitch, Mordred says. What happened? Issei replies. The Gremory bitch and her group of sluts dared to come here to see you. How dare she? Hearing this, Issei's previous expression changed into an emotionless one. Where is she? Issei says. Sona threatened to revoke her permission to stay in Ko, causing her to leave, Mordred says. I see. This was bound to happen sooner than later, since Volley carelessly revealed my past identity, Issei says. She was really furious when I asked her to leave, and then half fallen, I think her name is Akano, tried to attack me. Keyword, tried. With a battle-hungry grin, Mordred playfully punches Issei on his shoulders, who remains unfazed. What did you do in retaliation? Issei says. Just a light punch to her guts, a kick to her groin, although she was weirdly blushing after my small retaliation. She's a masochist and a sadist, a huge one at that, Issei says. Sensing the commotion, Sona decided to threaten Rias to leave, Sona says. So, want a good spar? Issei replies. At the Occult Research Club, a depressing aura surrounds the club, room inside, which all members of Rias' Parage are present. President, Akano's wounds are healed, Azia says. Thanks for your help, Azia, Rias replies. With the tears streaming down her face, Rias sits down on the chair, while Kiba and Azia silently move towards the corners of the room. Konako looks at the crimson magic glyph with a frown. Zenobia just stares at the depressed club. President, the familiar sent to spy Issei's mansion is dead. It looks like the curse-bounded field was eradicated, which killed Akano's familiar. Hearing this, Rias sobs and becomes louder than before, causing Zenobia eyes to twitch. Why should we spy on Lord Kodamine? If your brother finds out, you'll be punished severely, Zenobia says. Getting her teeth in frustration, Rias lets out an aura to flare, silencing the former exorcist. He is that gives me the reason for me to watch his actions. He's just being humiliated by that disgusting whore, Rias says. In a fit of fury, the former Gremory Harris summons her power of destruction and obliterates a chair nearby. Rias, I know that the past has been very hard for us, but I think we should let him be by himself, Kiba says. He is Issei, Rias says. Not anymore. Not after what we've done, Kiba says. Kiba yells at Rias, trying to knock some sense into her thick skull. He is my pawn, my Issei, he belongs to me, I love him, Rias says. He isn't yours anymore. He is not Issei Hyodo. The man called Issei Hyodo is long dead. We killed him without remorse. Issei Kodamine isn't the new Issei we knew. He is a monster that we made. Get that into your dense skull. If you can't accept the truth, you're delusional. Fool forever. With a cold glare, Kiba leaves the club by summon teleportation circle, leaving a pissed Rias. I didn't deserve this. I lost my territory. My position as a Harris is stripped from me and given to immature brat by my brother, and now a blonde slut and my bestie Sona have Issei under their strings. Do not be worried, my beloved Issei. I will cut you free from her strings. In the Kodamine residence, the air was tense at Issei's apartment. At Issei, Mordred and Sona stare at a figure cloaked in shadows. Fancy seeing you here, Azazel, Issei says. The figure slightly smirks and comes out of the embrace of the shadows, revealing himself as the governor fallen angel. And the former Archangel, Azazel. Yo, Red Dragon, Blonde, and Citri, it's good to see you again. Oh, who's the kid, Angel? Issei says. Issei suddenly throws a knife at the fallen Angel Governor, who casually dodges the knife. Your aim's a bit off, Azazel replies. Why are you here, Azazel? Last time I checked, Folly Lucifer was your subordinate, who couldn't keep his tabs on who could casually blew away my identity. The blame's on you, Azazel, for not keeping him on a leash. Azazel cheerfully smiles in an instant and frowns to replace his previous demeanor. Look, I'm sorry for what Volley did, but can we just have a small talk? What small talk do we owe the governor of the Gregor? Sona says. Oh, I just came here to tell you that Zek and Tani have asked me to be your advisor and live here in Ko. Azazel says. I refuse, Sona replies. Are you sure? C-Tree, because if you don't want to have me as your advisor, your beloved sister will pay you a visit. And I heard some rumors that your sister was extremely pissed about something related to you, Azazel says. With a broad grin, Azazel looks at Sona's flabbergasted face, while Mordred slightly shivered, reminiscing her past encounter with Serapha at the peace conference. You can stay here, Lord Azazel, Sona says. No need for the formalities, just call me Sensei or Azazel, Azazel says. Having you as our advisor is not that bad. You're the best sacred gear researcher, aren't you, Issei says. I am, but do mind me telling about Part Dragon here. With a cocky grin, Azazel looks at slightly frozen face of Issei. Her name is Mash, my new pawn, Issei says. How many pawn pieces did she take? 4 pieces. She has the spirit of Galad fused inside of her body, Issei says. Azazel's cocky grin vanishes and a horrified expression makes its way towards his face, causing Mordred to burst out laughing. How is that possible, Azazel says. Homunculized experiments by the old Satan faction based near London. I rescued her after destroying the lab. That's noble of you. Anyway, I have decided training camp in the underworld in the end of the semester vacation, which is 30 days. So I think it would be better to inform your respective Paraj. We'll be leaving to the underworld via Gremory private train in a couple of hours. And that is where we're going to stop for now, which is right at the end of chapter 16. I'm just kind of tired, or too much tired to finish it, so I'm sorry once again, but I've been reading 40-minute videos for a while now. I got to do them consistently with track and school as well, and it's kind of tiring. I have a meet this weekend, so I'm going to be absent through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so don't expect a video until Monday or Tuesday after this one, which will probably come out either Thursday or Friday, but I'm banking on Thursday. So thank you guys so much for the support. Once again, a special thanks to my balance breakers, Rob the King, Jorge Alvarez or George Alvarez, Lachlan Yates, Atomic Warlord 58, Quetzalcoatl, Tolek, Sun God, Daybreak, VR Wolf, #2347, Sinrar Q, Jordan Pacho, and Mazaku. Oh, shit. Sorry. But thank you so much for the support. Thank you for joining Balance Breaker once again. It's the highest tier in the management. Thank you to all my Ultra Instinct people as well, as long as my Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God people. What if Naruto was betrayed? I do plan on making that my next series just because I want to enjoy myself when I'm reading these things. My next Issei story will be the movie, of course. If it's not, well, then something unexpected happened. But thank you guys for the support. But I really want to do What If Naruto Was Betrayed and gather a new audience as well as Naruto and High School DxD, because I really think that I just like Naruto way too much to not be able to get into it. So without further ado, let's try to hit 500 to 600 likes. And Spartanic Arts DxD out.